and welcome to your mom's favorite podcast. Today we'll be talking about the Black Dahlia murder.
I'm Natalie.
And I'm Madeline.
So to start us off, I'm going to give us some background. The Black Dahlia murder is one of the most popular cold cases in American history. Her true name was Elizabeth Short, and she was only 22 years old when she was found mutilated in Leimert Park, Los Angeles on January 15, 1947.
Short was born in Medford, Massachusetts, but later moved out to California. She was an aspiring actress who hoped to be a Hollywood movie star. However, those dreams came to a dark and brutal end. Her body was found cut in half with organs removed. Her corpse looked at it as if it had been washed, and her hands were placed over her head. They found fecal matter in her stomach during the examination, which suggests that she was forced to eat it before she was killed. Her head had been bashed, along with 2 carved lines reaching from the sides of her head to the corners of her mouth. This created a permanent clown-like smile. The cause of death concluded to be hemorrhaging caused by a blow to the head.
The police investigated every corner of her life, but still the case went cold, and it's now the oldest cold case in Los Angeles.
So our first theory points to Leslie Dillon as the murderer. This theory was created by Hugh Eatwell in her book Black Dahlia, Red Rose. She makes a case to show that the murder was Leslie Dillon, a bellhop and mortician's assistant. He was, at one point, the case's primary suspect, but the police let him go. Eatwell wrote that this was because Sergeant Finis Brown had connections with Mark Hansen, a nightclub and movie theater owner, and Leslie's partner. According to Eatwell, Dillon, Hansen, and another man named Jeff Connors conspired to kill Short when she found out about a hotel robbery scam they were involved in. And so, they brought her to the Astor Motel and tortured and murdered her. One of the reasons why this might be true is that, according to Hugh Eatwell, the owners of the hotel found the room that Dillon and Hansen stayed in covered in blood and fecal matter. They had also seen people who resembled Elizabeth Short and Mark Hansen. Another reason why is, according to Kalina Fraga, Leslie Dillon had called the police station under the pseudonym Jack Sand, with details about the murder that the police had not released to the public. He said that Jeff Connors killed Short because she threatened to reveal, and quote, an affair not considered to be proper by the average person. However, research saying that this could not be true is that, according to LADailyMirror.com, Leslie Dillon was in San Francisco when Short was killed. He had also had no connection to Mark Hansen. And also, Leslie Dillon did not have any medical knowledge.
The second theory of the Black Dahlia murder is that George Hodel, the father of former LAPD detective, used his expertise to murder Short. Steve Hodel, George Hodel's son, found pictures of Elizabeth Short among his father's things. George, who has been deceased since 1999, was suspected of killing Short and a few others when a soil sample was taken from Hodel's former home and came back with positive results of human remains. According to Pruitt, the author of a history article discussing the case, police think it could be Hodel because of 3 main reasons: the pictures, the decomposed human remains found in the soil, and the matching cement sacks. He had known Short from a disease clinic, and there was evidence of them associating outside of work as well. George Hodel was on the police suspect list since he was arrested for allegedly raping his 14-year-old daughter in 1949.
The Dr. Hodel theory may be strong, but there are a few things that don't quite add up. According to the article, The Story of George Hodel, Hodel claimed that he would not have been able to do the damage to the carotid of the body because he was a medical doctor, not a surgeon. He also may have known he was bugged, and he was just saying things to aggravate the police, which obviously didn't work out well for him. And then he also fled to Hawaii, but there's not enough evidence to bring him back to extradite him. So, they obviously didn't have a strong enough case to formally point him as a suspect. Third theory.
The Cleveland Torso murderer was a serial killer from Ohio, active from 1934 to 1938. He committed particularly gruesome murders, beheading and dismembering his victims, as well as often severing their torsos, castrating male victims, and in some cases chemically burning them. Most of his victims were never identified, though he seemingly targeted low-income areas. Despite a lengthy investigation, his identity remains a mystery, with the sole suspect in the case hanging himself before trial could be held for any of the murderers. The killer may have had many more victims than the known 12 ones. According to an article by Case Western Reserve University, he is suspected to have killed upwards of 20 people. The method in which Short was killed is strikingly similar to the method the Cleveland murderer used, specifically the severed torso. In 1980, new evidence was found that implicated a man named Jack Anderson Wilson, who was a former Cleveland murder suspect in Short's case. The detective investigating Wilson, Detective St. John, claimed he was close to apprehending Wilson for Short's murder. However, the lead went cold as Wilson died in a fire the 4th of February, 1982. Although the timing doesn't match up, the Cleveland murderer only being active until 1938, while Short was killed almost a decade later in 1947. The Cleveland murderer only killed in Ohio, while Short's body was discovered in California.
I think that the Cleveland murder case is like the least likely because as that killer was not in the same location as well as the cases being years apart. However, Short could have been the victim of a copycat killer, someone who imitates the murders of famous serial killers, or someone who inspired to be the Cleveland murderer. Likely motives are that it's related to sadomasochism or based on misogyny, i.e. femicide.
So the Leslie Dillon case is somewhat likely. Dillon and Hansen's motive was that Short threatened to tell police about their hotel robbery, and the owners of the Astor Motel admitted to seeing two people who resembled Short and Hansen, and later found the room they stayed in covered in blood and fecal matter. However, there's no evidence to prove that Leslie Dillon and Mark Hansen did it.
The case for Hodel is also the most likely, as he actually knew Short herself, her being his secretary, as previously mentioned. Hodel's history as a medical doctor lines up with the surgical nature of the cuts on Short's body. This, as well as a record of abuse, combined with being an extremely sexually charged person, also makes sense due to Short's odd placing in a sexual way. So that's about all we have for the theories.
We're Madeline and Natalie, and this has been your mom's favorite podcast.
And me.
Thank
And
you for
Violet.
thank you for behind the scenes we have Violet, our editor and co-writer.
Yeah.
Thank you for listening. We hope you had a wonderful experience.
I didn't do it.
You got an alibi?
Yeah. Hodel.
Your son? He's the
No.
one that brought you in.
Oh, my son's a liar. My son's a dirty liar.
That is some foul language you got on that mouth of there, yours there.
Shut up.
Said Mr. Hodel.
You should die.
Is that a threat?
Yeah. I'll put your remains in the mud in my backyard.
So you're admitting to burying remains in your soil.
No.
How did they get there then?
I don't
The
know.
paper says they're there.
The
We
paper?
found a bone.
Well, the paper lying.
Is the bone lying too?
Yeah.